So this is a 350cc liquid cooled buggy, which is quite obvious as you can see. It is so much fun to drive. It is honestly a blast to drive. It is perfectly sized for just around here on the property that we've got here. At the moment, runs like crap. Runs like absolute garbage. And we've tried to fix that with, as you can see on the back there is an aftermarket airbox, which is actually stolen from a Toyota Echo. Big reason we did that is we wanted to get the airbox higher and get the air intake higher so we wouldn't suck in so much dust, because we just had issues with the air filter just clogging full of dust. And because of that, the carburetor is now stuffed. Now, this is very important. This isn't the only carburetor. This isn't the only carburetor on the farm that needs attention. Now, I don't have much experience with carburetors. I've never rebuilt one. I've built motors, I've done suspension, I've done all the other bits on the car, but I've never touched the carburetor, not in any depth. So this is gonna be my test subject, where I'm going to pull it apart, rebuild it, hopefully get it working. We'll see whether or not that actually happens. And while we're at it, we're gonna get this thing back working again. We'll tidy a few bits up. I'm not gonna be able to fix everything on it. I don't have all the parts for it, but we might be able to do little bits of attention, like maybe fix this indicator, tidy up the airbox somehow, maybe mount it properly, because right now it just moves around all over the place. This needs further attention. The CV joint's exposed. It's a big job, but we'll just see if we can get it running and do a rebuild on the car, which I'm pretty stoked for.
So this buggy was actually bought for one of my younger brothers who wanted an upgrade from the family heirloom 50cc quad. And it turned out that this was one of the most fun buggies we ever had. But it did have one slight drawback, and that was that it's never been the most reliable. Truth be told, I think a good portion of that was because of us. Given our very lax service routine and our constant beating on it, not even letting it get up to temperature before we thrashed the guts out of it, we were bound to run into some problems. But this has given me the opportunity to familiarise myself with the carby far more than I ever had done before, and with limited consequences.
So after a quick clean up, we've got our carby. I mean, like, we've all seen the diagrams of, you know, how they work and everything like that, with all the Venturi effect and you know, all the bits that we already know. But it's sort of like when you pull apart a transmission, or a better example, it's sort of like when you pull apart a torque converter. You know, you know how a torque converter works, and then you look inside of it and you're like, why the f there's so many fins? And that's what it looks like here. It's like, oh, I understand the basic principle, but why is there so much? But pulling it out now and having a look at it, it starts to make sense, I think. That's definitely idle control, because all that's doing is stopping where the throttle lands once you let go of it. That's obviously your float, where your bowl is, so we'll have a check in there to make sure everything's all right. Yep, that's the jet. All right, what we're gonna do is we're gonna pull it apart, see what we can find out.
I completely understand in the age of electronics that carbies are hardly a priority to know how to work on, especially given that they've been replaced for some time now with fuel injection. However, I truly love this older type of mechanical technology. There is something so beautiful about being able to see and feel how something works, truly getting your hands dirty and problem solving. And yes, there are fiddly bits that make you want to jump out a window, and yes, I will in this very video about parts availability. However, I think a quad buggy or a go-kart is a great way to start to learn these things, with everything being so accessible thanks to easy access, and a simple tool set can get you through basically any job. It is truly the perfect starting point.
I reckon let's give it some fuel and see if it will start and run and see if there's any other problems with it. Everything's just loosely there in the back. Let's see what happens. Wow! It's going to take a while to flip the bolt. That is good news. Now we're going to figure out how we're going to mount the airbox. I haven't got a plan for that. We're going to have to think. So, after much back and forth, I'll be honest with you, this took longer than messing with the carburetor. We have mounted an air filter. Can you see it? It's great! Let's give you a tour. I couldn't get the Echo airbox in here comfortably. It just wouldn't work. It just wasn't sitting nicely. Even this isn't perfect, like I must admit, but it's hopefully going to do the job and be a hell of a lot nicer than the Echo's one, which was rattling around and I don't even think was properly sealed at all. But now we've got this aftermarket airbox, which I've just found lying around. We've now got it, I must admit it's cable tied in, but we've got it cable tied in, connected it all up to the carburetor. Right, this tube, 3-inch tube, the carburetor's 2-inch, so I had to do an adapter down there, 2-inch up to 3-inch into the airbox. Got some breathers in there too. Fantastic. And now we're going to have all the intake noise right by our ear. Look, as janky as it looks, I kind of dig it, to be honest with you. I think it's kind of cool. It's not, ideally I want to run it better. Ideally I wouldn't want this tube going through here. I don't mind where it's sitting at the moment, to be honest with you. It's not mounted very well. It's mounted with cable ties. But yeah, ideally this tube needs to be run, I don't know, along the side or somewhere, just so it's out of the way. Though being in the middle does look nice symmetry wise. Anyway, let's see if we can start it and drive it. I think it might be gearbox related, not carb.
Unfortunately, yes, our problem is not yet fixed. It hasn't really translated well on video, as it just sounds like I'm lifting off the accelerator, but above a certain RPM or a certain load, the buggy bogs down, losing all power. Now, when I test drove it, I did make sure I experienced a full heat cycle, making sure the buggy got up to proper temperature and drove it for some time at temperature, but this problem would still not go away. Which confused me. It led me to wonder what the problem truly was. Previously, before we had fiddled with the airbox and the carb, it was worse, being completely undrivable. Now we can drive it, just not at speed, which only confused me further. So I didn't know what to do, which ended up meaning I left the buggy for some time before I started to mess with it again.
Quite a bit has happened and gotten out of hand just a little bit. But it's all good things, hopefully. I still don't know 100% what the problem is. So what we've done well, let's hang on, let's re-examine. So we've done the carburetor, we've done the air filter, they both seem to be fine now. I imagine now that the only other possibility is something either engine, gearbox, or the centrifugal clutch and the drive belt system. So that's what we're examining. On the passenger side, I suppose you say, you can access the centrifugal clutch. Now there's two types. Coming out of the input shaft, coming out of the output shaft of the motor, you have this. Now, I don't know if you call this the primary or the secondary clutch. I would say it's the secondary because it's smaller, but it's still, it's a clutch. This one here bolts onto that shaft, right? What happens is inside this little cylinder here are smaller cylinders and they're flung out, which forces these two plates together, locking in the drive belt, right? That's the first one. The second one, I'm guessing with this one, I haven't pulled this apart and I'm seeing the size of the springs on it, I'm scared to pull it apart, so we're not going to. I imagine that what happens with this one here is that these clutch pads are flung out, right? Which grabs onto this drum, acting sort of like a drum brake, and that twists the gearbox. I don't know how to test that. I don't know how to see if it's working. It all looks pretty healthy. I didn't see anything gross or anything inside of that. But what I did see, or rather what I heard, was this. I pulled this apart. The inside, the cylinders that are flung out, they're little graphite cylinders, they're all gone and all over the place. Like, they're everywhere. And this doesn't have proper movement in it now. The I don't know what you call it, but the plate that helps compress the belt. Now, the engine runs fine and can rev up fine, has no knocking noises, no nothing, whilst disconnected from the transmission. The transmission, if you spin it with the drill, sounds fine. You can even spin it the other way. Sounds fine. Sounds like there's nothing wrong in there. Works both forward and reverse. Fantastic. That sounds good. It must be. You would think, surely, it would be something to do with the centrifugal clutch. Now, it took a bit of time because it came in from, I think this actually came from America. We have some new components. Now, whilst it was apart and whilst we were waiting for quite a little bit of time, I decided I'd also pull the CVs out because this one's the better one, are flogged. Turns out, if you're willing to wait a little longer as well, you can get these brand new as well, and they look amazing. All greased, don't need to do a thing for it, wasn't that expensive. How freaking fantastic is that? Now, this is where we run into our next couple of problems. All of this can bolt back on. That's pretty straightforward, pretty easy. Ideally, we would replace the wheel bearings too, because these don't feel and sound the healthiest. However, I don't have the equipment to pull one of those bearings, so we're not going to do that. So let's see how we go this time.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Cleaning, I've noticed we're missing a bolt on that, and this one's very loose. So that's not good. We'll have to sort that out. Fortunately, I don't have an impact big enough for this, so we'll just send it home. I'm thinking a couple of Duggers.
3, 2, 1.
Right, I think we're ready to reassemble. I think I remember how this reassembles. What we're going to do now, this bearing here is normally sat inside the case housing, so it's probably not good for the shaft or wobble, so we won't drive it like that. What we'll do is we'll reassemble everything, put the wheels back on, and see if we can take it for a spin. If we can and it works, then we fix it. If it doesn't, then I don't know what is wrong. I wouldn't have a clue. But I think we've done it, quite frankly. I think we've done it. Let's reassemble. What a success! What a success. We have got it running, and it runs so good. It's running better than ever. I do wonder though, if any of what we've done has actually fixed it. Because as you may have seen, when I was driving around just then, I was still having issues until all of a sudden I wasn't. I wonder if instead something, because the air filter wasn't maintained, was sucked into the carburetor, and because the carburetor wasn't maintained, got through into the engine, and then got a bit sticky and stuff wasn't burning properly. And in between cleaning the carb, which improved it slightly, replacing the air filter, which improved it slightly, replacing the spark plug and doing the clutch has improved it slightly. I wonder if all these slight improvements were just because I ran it more and whatever was in the engine I've just burnt, or maybe if it was like a stuck valve or a sticky valve that has now freed up properly. I have no idea. But it works. It works good. It doesn't make any weird noises. With that, we'll tidy her up, and then we might move on to the next one. Makes you wonder what else is hiding in there. I went to grab the drone and I had parked it here in this shady spot, and it's rolled down that way. The handbrake doesn't work. It does not work. We might move on to the next buggy. Or, if I don't actually do that bit yet, because I don't have enough time and I need to get a video out, how about instead, I reckon we wrap it up there. Cool.